Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Kavita, so much for the introduction. And what a fabulous session here with such amazing tips. And it doesn't stop. We keep going. There's more advice coming to you all. And I wanted to introduce to you Michelle Dawkins. She's a pre-sales director at Workday. And I feel some kinship with her because I also am part of the pre-sales organization. So you'll probably learn a ton from her in this conversation. But Michelle has been responsible for launching diversity and inclusion initiatives to help elevate joy for women at Workday. She'll be sharing her experiences today with her two colleagues, Joanna and Verdana, in driving value of equity, inclusion, and belonging in a tech organization during this session. As mentioned by Kavita and the rest of the team, please leverage the chat, and we'll also take some of the Q&A into the WOVA app. Over to you, Michelle.
Thank you so much for the introduction. Joanna and Verdrana joining us today, and they will do some introductions shortly. I've been in the tech industry for over 20 years, and whilst building my career, I've navigated many of the challenges that come with quite often being the only woman in the room, more so particularly as I've grown into leadership roles. I am absolutely passionate about supporting career growth for women. I act as a sponsor and a mentor for multiple women within our Workday organisation. And in addition, I lead a council in Workday that looks at how we hire, develop and foster a sense of diversity, a sense of belonging, for diverse talent within our organisation. Today, we're going to talk about some of those programs that have been set up by this council, the ones that are particularly focused on elevating joy for women. But I'd like to start first with a quote from our Chief Diversity Officer, Karen Taylor. At Workday, we believe a supportive and inclusive workplace where everyone feels valued and included is the key to great products, happy customers, and an enduring company. Ever since Workday's inception, happy employees has been our #1 value, and it's really been key to our thinking as we've developed a belonging and diversity strategy that we call VIBE. So what does VIBE actually mean? Well, we believe that having diverse representation is critically important for all of the reasons that you as senior leaders will be fully aware of. However, it's only really one piece of the puzzle. And to retain, develop, and have happy employees, you need to have a diverse workforce in an environment where behaviours are inclusive, employees feel a sense of belonging, and you're investing in diversity in equal measures with other organisational initiatives. And for us, this is VIBE. At Workday, we value inclusion, belonging, and equity for all. And we've actually created a VIBE maturity model, which helps our customers understand where they are in their VIBE journey. Every organisation is at a different starting point, but you start with the same set of considerations. So first of all, we ask ourselves, how do we actually commit to moving the needle? What data will we use to make our commitments? Do we have champions at the top of the organisation? Do we have the right business functions in place to drive our commitments? And then we examine the actions that we put in place to progress our diversity, belonging and diversity efforts. For us, that includes behaviours, development, and then leadership engagement. With commitments and actions in place, we then look to thrive. So how do we achieve the goals and objectives that we've set for belonging and diversity? And this is where it's really important to be honest about your organisation's stage of progress. And it can vary when you consider things like workforce demographics, maybe underrepresented groups, and if you really start delving into intersections of identity. So how do we execute on our strategy in Workday? Well, when we first brought our VIBE Council together, we looked at data from our Workday solution, so our diversity data, our diversity metrics. We also then looked at the results of our employee engagement survey, and we realised that there are a few different things we needed to focus on. So first of all, we wanted to increase representation of women in the field sales organisation at an individual contributor level, but also at a leadership level. And then secondly, we wanted to improve the experience and elevate joy for the women in our workforce. And we had lots of support from our global corporate belonging and diversity organization. They rolled out a lot of different programs and training that we really helped then drive into our local organization. And in addition, we created our own initiatives to help hire more women, develop women into leadership roles, and help foster a sense of belonging for women at Workday. The most important step for me, the first step, was to gain executive sponsorship. And I really don't think without the support and the sponsorship of our European President, Carolyn Horn, I don't think it would have been as easy to gain the results that we've had from our programs. Carolyn has provided budget where we've needed it. She's also led from the front, communicating our programs out to the entire organization, encouraging participation from our exec leadership team, and even participating in our programs herself. So for example, one of the programs we'll talk about today is the reverse mentoring program. Carolyn is being mentored by a female individual contributor so that she can continue to understand what's happening on the ground, really keep a pulse check on what's going on within the organization, and then help to continue to drive change. Driving that change top down is absolutely critical, and then you can start to generate the change from the bottom up. And to do that, we tapped into our workforce. So we identified people that are very passionate about both participating in and leading Vibe programs. And I'm going to hand over to Joanna now to introduce herself and tell you a little bit more.
Of course. Thank you, Michelle. Hi, everyone. My name is Joanna Stachowska, and I'm a pre-sales manager for Workday in DACH. So that's Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And I joined Workday 4.5 years ago from the banking industry, which meant that, well, most of the time I was the only female on the team and always managed by men. And really having that experience of just not fitting in, and now myself taking the responsibility of a team at Workday and running a number of projects, I want to make sure that the team is diverse and we can build on each other's strengths. And people often think that in order to run big projects and make a lasting change in the organization, a large budget is needed. And of course, sometimes this is true, but sometimes, as it was in our case, the strength came from within Workday. We all have our stories where we were asked to smile more or not to be so pushy or bossy, and it can weigh us down, but it also can help us to create that passion and energy to be the change that we want to see in the world. So to find the right people, we created a gig for each of the projects. A gig is a short-term initiative where employees can dedicate between 1 and 5 hours per week to have a chance to learn new skills, to meet new workmates, network, and open the door to new opportunities within the organization. And we had over 200 applicants for our EMEA Vibe projects from around the world. To apply, of course, the management approval was needed, but it really wasn't an issue as Workday promotes the value of gigs within the organization for both the individual themselves and the value it creates for the teams. Interviews were scheduled to select the right participants. And these interviews were led by individual contributors themselves to experience, which the experience in itself created new skills and capabilities needed in the next career steps. But the projects that we ran required time commitment from our workmates. What we had to keep in mind really was that delicate balance between asking minority groups to take workload on and not burning them out. And I remember a story about the one female manager that became the diverse representation of the company in the interviews at the top of hiring spree. And it meant that her day-to-day responsibilities were pushed out to evenings and nights and putting burden on her personal life. And we were really determined to avoid such situations. So we designed and ran 6 projects, each with different levels of successes and different lessons learned. And if you would like to learn more about each of those, we added some information to the WOBA platform. And out of the 6 projects that we ran, 2 were specifically designed to support women at Workday, Reverse Mentoring and Thrive. And Vedrana, you took part in both of them. So could you please share your experiences and how it made an impact on your career at Workday, please?
Absolutely, happy to do so. Hi, everyone. My name is Vedran Bogdan. I joined Workday last year as an HCM solution consultant. And it is already during onboarding that I was made aware of just how important Vibe is for our entire organization, as well as the number of opportunities we had to get actively engaged, either by helping to shape the projects or benefiting from them to drive our careers. So as part of Workday, I was nominated for or applied for 2 programs. Thrive program that creates visibility and opportunity for women in Workday, and the second one, reverse mentoring, where I get to mentor a senior leader on identifying reasons and ways to promote empathy, awareness, and trust for women in Workday. And having been in both programs for over 6 months now, I've benefited in so many ways. From building relationships across departments and regions with individuals I would have never met in my day-to-day work, who helped shape these programs or joined themselves in order to develop further. The team was diverse, yet one thing we had in common, or at least one thing, and that was the ambition to create a more balanced work environment. And not only for future generations, but already and maybe selfishly for us as well. So let me tell you a little bit about these programs. In Vibe Reverse Mentoring Program, I'm having regular conversations with one of our senior leaders in order to identify where the experience gaps are by underrepresented minority groups, and as well as to inspire action that comes from top. These conversations don't only help us drive awareness, but also to rethink the ways our executives engage in recruiting process, career decisions, as well as people leadership as a whole. And what I've learned from the program is that creating a trusted relationship is critical. So there's no finger pointing, blaming, or looking for excuses, because in our conversations, we're both focused on looking for solutions as well as better ways to work together. I've learned that often you don't know what you don't know. So I'm sharing my career experiences and obstacles I've come across as a woman, minority, and an expat in the tech industry, and all the doors that have been closed for me. And what I've learned is that not everyone is even aware of the fact that there is a door or a glass ceiling or a broken rung for that matter. And because not all of us share the same experiences, the first step towards change is to create an understanding of where and why the change is needed, as well as to identify and coach the allies who can help us take the next step. As part of the Thrive program, I got inspired by our leadership team, as well as carved out time in my schedule to work on critical capabilities to excel in my career, from building my personal brand and a network to influencing others, all the way to maintaining a healthy work-life balance and elevate joy. I was really given the tools and support to turn my career ambitions into reality, and the results came quickly. I was promoted to management, where I can continue building on these new skills. Now, what made a difference for me as part of Thrive are the accountability groups that we were divided into, which not only increased the sense of belonging, but also helped me discuss the thoughts and ideas with other colleagues, as well as get inspired by their actions and experiences. So Workday partnered with third-party specialized provider, Lendit, that gave us access to additional tools and resources to support our career growth. And it helped me create my own brand statement, define tangible career goals, as well as provided sessions with experienced career coaches. And this is only a handful of my personal experiences. Michelle, maybe you want to take over to provide more detailed insights on the impact that Thrive and Reverse Mentoring had on the entire team.
Thank you, Vidrana. We've had some wonderful results as part of our overall efforts in this space. So, for example, in the last 18 months, we've seen a 10% increase in women in EMEA field sales and an 18% increase in women in leadership roles in EMEA field sales. From our pilot Thrive program, we had 3 women promoted vertically into leadership positions and 3 more promoted into individual contributor roles, exploring new career paths, thanks to the confidence they gained and the new connections that they built. What we've learned, though, is whilst it's really important to monitor the metrics and make sure you are working towards the end goal of increasing representation, it's actually really difficult. It takes time, and you need to make sure you're putting as much focus on building an inclusive environment for women to flourish when in role, not just focusing on representation. So in addition to focusing on the metrics and really understanding how you're doing and how you're progressing on your journey, capturing the magic moments is really important. Behavioral change can be difficult to measure and it doesn't happen overnight. So it's important to have a mechanism for sharing and capturing the small wins. All members of our Thrive program built new connections. And when we asked for feedback during our wrap-up session, it was the overwhelming #1 benefit that they cited. The ability to build their network, share their experiences and growth with others on the same trajectory. It was absolutely invaluable. So now we're refining that piece of the program to make it even better for the next time, the next version of Thrive. And then seeing behavioral change in senior leadership, things like male leaders giving out books on gender equality at country meetings, ensuring that they have diverse interview panels, questioning why there aren't more women in the room, recognizing and self-correcting when they've acted with bias. Also, things like recognizing that a talent pool is heavily skewed towards male candidates and broadening their outreach to other sources. Also asking how they can get their direct reports into the reverse mentoring program. These are the magic moments we've seen on our Vibe journey and what's helping us to elevate joy for women in Workday. And as we wrap up these pilot programs and start to produce the next wave of these programs, we're asking for feedback from all of our participants to take into the next round. With our Thrive program, we're going to be using a pay it forward model where the participants from the pilot will actually share their experiences and run the next round. And then with reverse mentoring, we're aiming to broaden this program across all of EMEA and use our employee engagement survey tool, Peakon, to give us a deeper understanding of how women at Workday feel. So what you're seeing here as we wrap up are some direct quotes from the women who participated in our program. So I just want to say thank you very much for listening today. It's been great to for us, the Workday team, to have an opportunity to talk to you, and enjoy the rest of the conference.
Thank you so much, Michelle, and the rest of the team presenting in the previous panel as well. Amazing content. And for the folks that are attending the conference today, we have a short 30-minute break. Please go off and drink some coffee, get re-energized to continue the joy. There are some amazing sessions coming up, so please do come back and join us for the rest of the conference. Thank you, everyone, and have a good day.